In this video, I'm going to be going over Cyclops. I'm going over all the Greek monsters, even though technically none of these things are started from the Greeks and the Romans. They've been around since the beginning of time. But I'm going through all the Greek monsters, and I'm going to explain the deeper meaning behind all of it and how it relates to the Bible, alright? So, I made a monster playlist. You can go on my playlist, and you'll see I have all the Greek monsters videos there. Okay, so if you don't know what a Cyclops is, it's a big, one-eyed giant in Greek mythology. Even though it goes back further than that, you can find one-eyed giant imagery all the way since the beginning of time. With the Sumerians and the ancient Near East, they have a one-eyed giant character, alright? And this one's very interesting because this is a giant coming out of a secret gateway or a doorway, alright? Which I will definitely bring up in a minute, because in real life, there are instances of people who see giants coming out of spiritual doorways, and I'll bring it up in a minute. But I want to get through the ancient stuff first, okay? So this is a very good depiction of a giant coming out of a one-eyed giant coming out of a doorway. But there's also another depiction of a one-eyed monster in ancient Near East. And very little is known about what's going on in the ancient Near East. They don't know. There's no writing, but I'm telling you what I see, okay? So, this is a hero slaying a one-eyed monster, okay? And not to mention, this still looks like Medusa stuff to me. It's a one-eyed giant mixed in with Medusa stuff, and that you can even see that later in today, which I'll bring it up later, okay? So, the hero is slaying a one-eyed Medusa-like monster, and or there is a one-eyed giant, horned giant coming out of a secret doorway. These are the only two instances in the ancient Near East that I have found of the one-eyed giant, but it's very, very interesting. Okay, so the Greeks did not invent a Cyclops. It's been around since the beginning of time. It is almost like since people could learn how to read and write, they were talking about these things, okay? Very important. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the Greek monster version first, and I'm going to compare it to the Book of Enoch, okay? Alright, so in the Greek mythology, there was 3 Cyclopses. There's a couple different versions of the Cyclops story. Just that there's a million different versions actually now. But there was Brontis, Steropus, and Arges. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but there were 3 Cyclopses. And what they were known for was making weapons. Okay, they made Zeus's weapons. They make weapons for the gods. All right, and I wanted to connect that to the fallen angels who then produced the Nephilim, which is still giant stuff, right? So there's a connection there. So this is the Book of Enoch, and I want to bring this up. And Azazel, who is in the Bible as a goat demon, by the way, taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, which is so important. I'm going to bring up antimony. So Nephilim spirits taught people how to use antimony, evil spirits or fallen angels, right? So antimony is a real substance. It was probably used in the ancient world for some sort of magical properties, alright? And it still was. But antimony is actually poisonous, okay? And I have to bring this up. So in the 16, 1700s, they had antimony cups. And what you would do is it was purposely poisoning you. They knew it was poisoning you. And it would make you throw up a lot. And they thought that was good. They thought putting this poison in your mouth was good for your body, even though it wasn't. You could be perfectly fine and drink some antimony cup a little bit, and you would sometimes die or just get really sick. And for some reason, they thought that was really good. And I have to bring this up? It was a Catholic church. It was a Catholic priest who made up antimony to drink it when it's actually just poison. The Catholic Church promoted antimony. They're like, yes, God wants you to drink poison. And because I think this information is for everyone in their own time frame. Okay, so some evil spirits did tell these people to drink antimony, to use antimony, which was just poisoning. And also, antimony is now used in electronics. Okay, so what's the message here? Can these things be poisonous to you? Can your electronics or influenced by evil? Can electronics spiritually kill you and lead you to hell? Yes. Is that what God's talking about maybe with this stuff? Yes. So whenever I see hear that these Cyclopses are making precious metals and stuff, I think of the Book of Enoch when I see these Cyclopses making weapons for the gods and for the people, right? And they're really just there to stab you in the back, right? But I think you're allowed to do this, okay? I think you're allowed to use Satan's own weapons against him at times, right? You're allowed to use electronics and stuff to bring people to God. So yeah, you're allowed to use Cyclops' own weapons against him, sure. Another thing they are known for is making weapons and for making these walls in Mycenaeans. The Mycenaeans were the Greeks before they were called the Greeks, okay? They supposedly, one-eyed giant Cyclopses made these walls, okay? Which is still very much Nephilim stuff, right? And I already talked about how these giants made these big structures all over the place. Everyone knows that, I think. But in this video, in this Chucky video, I talk about that. I go over that in other places. But in Greece, these one-eyed giants supposedly made these temple walls. Something else that is interesting, in the Isthmus of Corinth in Greece somewhere, there's supposed to be a Cyclops cult that lived there. Some group of cult leaders that made a Cyclops cult like way a long time ago, alright? Pausanias says that in his day there was a Cyclops temple. And obviously these things probably got turned into gods over time, alright? But no one's been able to find it. He's also the guy who found the werewolf temple, right, of Zeus. That werewolf cult or beast man cult. And that ended up being true, though. So maybe there was one there and it just got destroyed over time. But, yeah. Okay, now I'm going to go into the very classical version of the Cyclops. The Greek-Roman classical version. Where there was a Cyclops, just one, okay, and he wasn't really known for building anything per se. He was just some giant. He was a shepherd, and he would eat people. Like, if you came to his island, he lived on an island, which is very important, because this island I will bring up another time, and the hero has to go and slay him, okay? But in this version of the Cyclops, the hero just has to take out his eye, alright? In this version, the Cyclops doesn't die, the eye just gets poked out, alright? And obviously they didn't make that up themselves. That was since the beginning of time. The hero has to slay the one-eyed giant, alright, the one-eyed monster. And I have to bring up that this stuff is I'm going to bring in current information now. More current information, okay? So one thing the Cyclops does, he puts the guys into a cage and he slowly eats them, okay? And he ends up dying because the hero, which is a different hero in every story. Sometimes it's Apollo, sometimes it's Odysseus, sometimes it's Sinbad. It's a different hero every time. Okay, now we're gonna get into some current stuff, some current monsters, alright? Giants, anyway. So I'm gonna use this picture right here of this Cyclops. So there's a Cyclops giant, or a Cyclops being, coming out of a super secret doorway. I think it's a supernatural doorway. I don't think it's a normal doorway, obviously. And that is kind of creepy because supposedly that is happening. It depends, and I have no idea if this is real or not. I am just giving you the information, okay? So people have claimed to view giants coming out of supernatural doorways that open up, okay? This is probably the most recent famous version of that. This man and his wife swore they saw a giant coming out of this doorway. Of course, if you go there, it's just solid rock, but it does look like a door. But it's like a doorway into another dimension. And he said he saw a giant coming out of there. And there's also this other guy, these other videos of giants, okay? And again, I don't know if these are real. I'm just giving you the information. But they live in mountains. And if this is true, I believe they're evil spirits. I don't think they're actually flesh and blood, like you can kill them. But I don't know. Anyway, so they're demonic, I think. I don't think anyway, these people say they're coming through another dimension through these doorways. And these are supposedly video footage of giants, okay? And it just reminds me of this ancient picture of this giant coming out of the secret door, and I have to bring that up. Alright, I wanted to bring that up. And these really weird supernatural stone doorways that apparently don't lead anywhere are all over the place. There's dozens of them. They're all over the place, okay? So so we've had the same monster since the beginning of time, okay? So I'm going to show you this picture right here. These pictures are of Cyclops, and in my opinion, it's mixing Cyclops and Medusa together. Okay, even in this picture, it looks like he has snake hair. In the very first depiction of a Cyclops, these monsters are all mixed together, okay? And they are still here. They're still in movies, and I'll show it to you very obviously, okay? And it's literally the same stories over and over again. They change them a little bit, and just since at the beginning of time, 1 minute it's a good guy, and the next minute it's a bad guy, okay? And Cyclops is a good thing and a bad thing in all these movies. Just like back then, they can never decide if it's good or bad, if they're gods, or if they're here to help you, or if you're supposed to slay them, right? And all this I'm going to use in a minute, okay? So let's go over this of Cyclops information. Cyclops keeps men in a cage and eats them one by one, and a hero comes and takes out his eye, all right, and he dies. And in some of these older depictions, it's mixing up Medusa and Cyclops. That means sometimes the Cyclops has snake hair. In this War of the Worlds movie, it's literally the same story. Alright, and I know I have to bring up old movies. I just have to point out that these stories are here since the beginning of time because God uses them, is my point, okay? If you've ever seen this War of the Worlds movie, okay, these one-eyed alien monsters come up out of a secret doorway under the earth, okay? And they turn people to stone or dust with their stupid magic eye or whatever, right? They keep people in a cage, and Tom Cruise is the hero. He takes out its eye, okay? It is literally the same story, okay? And it literally has hairs like snakes. It's literally the same story since the beginning of time. I'm not gonna go through every movie where this happens because we'll be here all day, okay? But I will do Monsters Inc. real fast. They have a kids version, of course, okay? There's Medusa, there's Cyclops. I think his name is Mike, all right? And even Sully is a satyr. He's got goat horns. Those are goat horns. So there's a satyr, there's a Cyclops, there's a Medusa. And also, I'm not going to do a whole video on frogmen, okay? But even in Greek mythology, there's a frogman, and there's a frog monster in Monsters Inc. Then there's many three-eyed monsters, which I'll bring up in a minute. And they have to go through magical doorways to go to the other side. It's literally the same story since the beginning of time, okay? It's because God uses them, okay? It's same stories on purpose, okay? But most of the time, people just get lost in it and they don't understand what's going on. Even in the X-Men, it's the same Greek monsters since the beginning of times. There is Cyclops. There's Medusa. Phoenix is the Medusa because she changes people into stone and ash. There's a satyr, Azazel. It's literally the name of the Bible. And there's a frogman. Alright, exact same monster. And even Wolverine's metal, he has like special metal, right? He's made of metal. I believe his metal is based off of antimony. Okay, it's called adamantium, but I believe they just based it off of antimony. And I know people are going to think that I'm crazy, but I don't think any of that's a coincidence. Even in that, if you ever I've seen some of these X-Men movies. I don't know anything about the Avengers. I don't watch movies anymore. I've only seen some of these older ones. Anyway, even in this Logan movie where Wolverine dies, okay, you find out that his metal is poisonous, right? It's killing him. That's what adamantium is. That's what antimony is. It's a poisonous metal that kills you if you ingest it. His metal is definitely based off of antimony. And even in the movie, he kills the Medusa monster with his special metal antimony, right? Because it's poisonous. In the movie, he kills Medusa. It's the exact same story since the beginning of time. Okay, now we're really going to get into the philosophy of this third eye or one-eyed thing, all right? Because I obviously think this is talking about, third eye awakening, which is evil. That is true, okay? And I have to bring this up, okay? There's a good version to keep spiritually opening your eyes and understanding things, a good version of understanding spiritual stuff, and that is in the Bible, okay? Jesus teaches that. There, just like in these stories, there's a good one-eyed person and there's a bad one-eyed person. Jesus literally has a teaching about a good single one-eyed enlightenment. And I know that sounds very, very new agey, and I will explain that in a minute. Jesus' strange teaching about a single eye. The light of the body is in the eye. Therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But in thine eye be evil, the whole body shall be full of darkness. Okay, now we're really gonna get into this. Okay, there's a good version to this. Okay, what is this third eye business? Or what's this eye in the middle of your forehead business? Okay, this is about the image of God versus the image of Satan, obviously, okay? And this one-eyed giant is a theme even in the Islam, okay? And I'm really gonna use this. I'm really gonna talk about this. This is about what is this weird third eye imagery about? It's about you spiritually being awake. Okay, it's not about you literally growing an eyeball in the middle of your forehead or taking out one of your eyeballs, okay? It's about you spiritually seeing clearly, and it's about you having proper enlightenment to fill your body and soul versus improper enlightenment, okay? And I know when people see this when the Christians see this one-eye business, they think of evil stuff, and that is true. Unfortunately, most of the time, this is evil stuff, okay? But I'm trying to tell you where this stuff comes from. It comes from God originally, but it got turned into evil crap. No, you're not supposed to do pineal gland awakening. That is not what I'm saying at all. Okay, I'll talk about that in a minute. Even Jesus' name, his name in ancient Hebrew is spelled with a one eye, okay? And I know this eyeball on top of a pyramid is a very evil all over your house or anything like that, okay? It's obviously evil. This one-eyed pyramid stuff, Satan took that from God, okay? Because this imagery right here, this one eye on top of a temple, is what this is. It's a one eye on top of this cross. The cross represents an open doorway, open eye, okay, on top of a temple. God uses this cross, or a star, or a compass, or open-armed man on top of a rock to explain a number of things. It's never supposed to stop giving you understanding. God is using things from everyone's culture to try to bring people to Christ, okay? But in the ancient world, stars or gems or a compass meant an eyeball, okay? So that's where there is a good version to this, okay? There is a proper way to... there is a good temple that will give you enlightenment, and that is the temple of Jesus Christ, not anything else. And even in... I already talked about this in so many of my Noah's Ark videos. This one eye, or this window on top of a temple, was taken from Noah's Ark, okay? Satan stole this, and people stole all this imagery, and it got turned into witchcraft. So that is what this Bible passage is talking about. It's talking about proper enlightenment through him, and through the Bible, and the church of the temple of Jesus Christ, alright? It's not talking about something else. And people have read this Bible passage, and have double vision, okay, about it. They think Jesus is promoting third eye awakening. Not in the way that you're thinking. No. You're not supposed to drop DMT. You're not supposed to go to yoga. You're not supposed to do any of this weird stuff to open your third eye. That is not what I'm talking about, and that is not what Jesus is talking about. Reading the Bible can open your spiritual eyes, okay? You can have proper spiritual enlightenment with a relationship with God, and reading the Bible, not going to yoga and all this stuff. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? Because people have taken this Bible passage that way. See, Jesus is talking about third eye awakening, not in the way that you're thinking. No, that's having double vision. That's you saying Jesus is promoting evil things, and he's not, okay? And this is really important. In Islam, a one-eyed monster is talking about the Antichrist, and in my opinion, it's talking about the false prophet. Okay, because having prophecy, having a third eye open, or having your eyes open spiritually, is a prophet imagery, right? And there are good prophets, there are good people who can see into the other side, or spiritually see things correctly, and there's bad ones, obviously. Okay, now this is way more serious than you think about. There's just monsters in the forest somewhere, because this is real, okay? And even you can see this is actually way more serious, okay? So this is just your very typical image of a Cyclops with a horn, and this is an image of Buddhism, and he has one horn and he has a third eye. That is literally talking about the same thing, I believe, okay? Even in this version of the Cyclops, he has 3 eyes technically, but his main 2 eyes don't work, or they're closed, and that's what this is in Hinduism and Buddhism. The eyes are closed and that third eye is open. That is Cyclops imagery to me. I don't think there's a difference at all. That might even be where they got the Cyclops. The Greeks got the Cyclops monster from, okay? So yeah, the Cyclops to me represents people and false gods and false enlightenment from other religions, not just some silly claymation monster that doesn't exist. These monsters exist. Even in the Illuminati, that's why it's called the Illuminati. They close one eye, and they say they represent. They have all the answers behind the scenes. They claim to be illuminated. That is why they're called the Illuminati. Is the Cyclops talking about that? Yes! These monsters are real! They're right here! It's not just some claymation imaginary stuff. This is real. These monsters are right here, right in front of you. And they're people, right? Even this monster's name, God uses the etymology to explain these things to you. This is not just some claymation monster that doesn't exist. It exists, alright? So, even in the Greek myth, this monster's name is Polyphemus, okay? Polyphemus, his name means many famous. It means very famous. And these are very famous Cyclopses, okay? That's literally what the Greek name means. It means very famous. And you guys, I have found the Cyclops cult, okay? It's the Illuminati. It's all these false religions. It's all these false enlightenment, okay? That is the false prophet. It's all of it. I don't think the false prophet is just one guy, even though that might happen, a final stage might happen. It's talking about all of this stuff, okay? I found the cult of the Cyclops. It's right in your own backyard. You don't even have to go to Greece. Alright? It's everywhere. It multiplied. It didn't disappear. It multiplied. And these things are not here to illuminate you. They are here to eat you and kill you and eat you one by one. Okay? Very serious. It's not just a claymation monster. This is real. Right? And I believe God uses all these stories since the beginning of time to try to explain something to you. Okay, let's read this Bible passage. And if your eye causes you to sin, tear it out. It is better for you to enter the kingdom of God with one eye than with two to be thrown into hell. Okay, so let's go back to this Greek monster thing. The hero has to take out the monster's eye, and that is what I am trying to do here. Okay, the hero is supposed to be Jesus, yes, and the hero is supposed to be you. You have to disilluminate this stuff. This stuff is darkness. It's not here to help you. It's darkness. This hero who has to slay the one-eyed monster is supposed to be Christians. Okay, you're supposed to put the monster's lights out. Okay, you're not literally supposed to be killing or hurting people. You're supposed to show them this is false enlightenment and show them the good enlightenment. Okay, God can heal you of all this stuff. God can heal you. He can help you with all this stuff. He can tear you out of your one-eyed monster craziness, right? Alright, he can heal you and help you. Jesus can heal the blind. There's a philosophy behind that. He can truly make you see true enlightenment and make you see things clearly. And please open your eyes and see it before it's too late.